Hey everybody, welcome back to Spitballin Cards. Do not adjust your devices. There are three of us today, and Scott is not one of them. I'm Jeff. That's Chris, and we've got Teapot, aka Raptor, at the bottom.
Raptor. I'm changing my name right now on here to Raptor if I can figure out how to do that while we're talking.
Excellent. And if you guys don't know where the name Raptor came from, Ty joined a Blabbin' About Slabbin' live and was very Raptor-esque in the comments. And I believe his his nickname auto-corrected. Was that an M. Parsons?
Yes, I think my wife was trying to say something. I'm sure extremely clever to Teapot, and her phone auto-corrected T-pot to Raptor. And
yep, from then on, he's been known as Raptor, and he's been acting the part as well. He's been fierce. He's been fierce.
Some dinosaur rage lately.
Thanks for joining us. Scotty and Phil will be back. But today, the three of us are going to talk about some opening weekend overreactions. We like to overreact, and there was a lot to overreact, especially if you see the jerseys that Chris and I are wearing from our teams. There are a lot of reactions to make. So we're going to talk about a good overreaction, somebody that's been a dud, surprisingly to us, and maybe somebody to keep an eye out for, which might impact some card prices. So before we get to that, though, I just want to remind you guys about our Patreon. We had a great first live this week. So if you'd like to join in future lives and need more exclusive content from us, please visit the link down below in the description. And thank you to all those who've already joined us over there. Ty, let's kick it off. Who do you want to overreact about first?
So I think we're going to overreact to one top performer so far, one dud, and then stick around to the end because we'll have kind of like somebody to watch out for, which could, of the three categories, be the biggest card impact. A lot of times the guys who sort of come in flying under the radar and pop off are the ones who can see the biggest gains on their cards. But I'm going to start us out with Mr. Not Torpedo Bat, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge not using the torpedo bat. Obviously, we saw the Yankees set a franchise record 9 home runs in one of their games. And again, sorry, Jeff. Who did they play? The Brewers.
I forget. Doesn't matter.
Former Yankee Nestor Cortez.
Is it 15 home runs in their first 3 games? Something along those lines. And the talk of that was these new bats, the torpedo bats, that they adjusted the barrel down and put the hardest part of the bat sort of lower on the bat. And several of the teammates are using it, including Jazz Chisholm and I think Volpe and maybe a few others. But Judge is not using them, and that has not impacted him thus far. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look at some things to do with Mr. Aaron Judge. Let's see if I can figure this guy out. Let's see. So Judge obviously had, all-time great season last year, and this year he's doing even better. Small sample size, just a cool 572 OPS plus.
That's pretty good.
It doesn't I don't even know if Barry Bonds has ever had that. 4 home runs, 545 batting average, 11 RBIs, just across the board, ridiculous. Had the 3 home run, almost hit a fourth in his 5th at bat in that middle game of the series. It was basically 3 feet from a 4th home run in that game. So he's off to an incredibly hot start. And if we look at what his card prices are doing in market movers over the last 2 weeks, pretty negligible across all of his different cards in terms of price change, just holistically across the board. So 322 different cards with sales. Price change 4.4%, but sales volume, meaning how many cards have sold, up 40% in the last 2 weeks and 78% in the last week, meaning 78% more cards sold this past week than the week before, and 40% than the 2-week period before that. So things are heating up. People are coming in hot and enthusiastic on Aaron Judge cards already.
Yeah, that makes sense, Ty. And I see, so that the data usually is slightly trailing, right? It takes a little while for it to show up. So probably between this week and next week, we might even see a bigger boost in that volume.
Yep, I think it, there's already enthusiasm going into opening day of every season. We talk about like if you want to stay out in front, like a lot of times the best time to sell is like right before the season starts because a lot of people start looking for cards. But there's going to be heat already around Judge. I mean, especially if he just even does half of what he did in that first series for the upcoming 1 to 2 weeks. I think things are going to be really hot. My question is, how high can Aaron Judge's card prices go? How high should they go?
I don't know. Well, think about how slow he started last year. He started really slow last year. This is the polar opposite. So man, if he manages to keep this momentum going, I feel like his cards may just I don't know. They might start reaching Ohtani heights at this rate. It's crazy. I can't believe that he was so successful and so healthy last year, and that's carried on into this year.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's like a classic overreaction. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram, like, and in those big Facebook groups being like, looking for Judge, like, sell me Aaron Judge cards, sell me Aaron Judge cards. And like, I get it. Like, he's hot and it's a great, you want to be a part of it. Like, he had an incredible series, but he had an incredible series. He's a great player. I don't think we saw anything in that series that we haven't seen already. We know he's really good. We know he can do this. And we know Nestor Cortez is absolutely terrible. Those are all facts. Those are all facts that I don't think any of us doubted before that series. I think that my biggest takeaway from that series is that the Brewers pitching staff might be worse than we thought it was going to be, which is unfortunate. I will say I'm not a fan of those bats, and not just because the Yankees are using them. I did see a story about I think the Braves catcher, Drake Baldwin, already ordered some. So I'm guessing I think there's one of two things. Either by the end of April, every single team has hundreds of these bats, or by the end of April, the league is like, no, we're not using these. Like, we're not doing this. Like, this is out. Anthony Volpe's barrel percentage last year was like 3%. Like, he was horrible. And so the team figured out a way to move the barrel of the bat so that he wouldn't get jammed as much. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the line is. I know it's technically legal, so it's fine. But to me, that just feels like we're fussing around, and in parts of the game we should not be fussing around with. But we'll have more on this later. I think Aaron Judge is great. He's always been great. Jeff and I actually picked up 2 big Aaron Judge cards this offseason, and so far that has not torpedoed, pun intended, Aaron Judge's ability. So maybe that means he's impervious to what Jeff and I normally do to players.
The curse. Yeah.
If he's that strong that he can plow through the curse, then all records are on the table.
All right.
I was a little skeptical.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I was a little skeptical when Scotty bought the red definitive Judge last year. I don't know why, but I've always had it in my head that Judge was going to be kind of like a short flame, like a hot, intense, little burst of like incredible performance, and that it wouldn't last. And so I'm starting to think that less and less, and starting to think maybe he's got a lot left in the tank. It's early in this season, but boy, did he just looked comfortable. He just looked very, very, very comfortable. Yes, it's Nestor Cortez. And maybe he was extra PO'd for obvious reasons at Nestor Cortez. But
I think you're not alone, Ty, in thinking that that's what Chris and I were on Judge last year, thinking that I don't know if he can put together another season like this. I don't know if he can stay healthy. He's getting older. He hasn't had full seasons. And then he did it. And now if we're going to see it again, it's just going to be harder and harder to deny that superstardom.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like 4 of his first 7 seasons. So like, in his prime years, he couldn't stay on the field for various reasons. A lot of these were like lower body, leg injuries. He had the fluke thing at Dodger Stadium, but he also had like calf and hamstring. And it just seems like this was going to dog him, that he was going to be great when he could play and wouldn't be able to play that much. But suddenly in his 30s, and I'm not accusing him of anything, I think maybe his fitness regimen got better, but he seems to be able to stay on the field. And that's going to be huge, because if the Yankees lose him, they're probably done. He's most likely the most important single player out there. But yeah, he's fun to watch. He really is. I wish I had more skin in the Judge game. I wish I had more cards. I wish I had him in fantasy, or, as it is, he is fun to watch. Unless of course he's pounding, your beloved team into submission.
That's true.
Well, Judge is a classic overreaction. Chris, who's your reaction? Your overreaction?
I'm going to go in the other direction. And I think that we have to talk about the player who's having arguably the worst start in the history of baseball, which is Rafael Devers. We are recording. As of just recording, he just struck out for the second time Monday afternoon in Baltimore against some pitcher named Povich, who throws about 92 miles an hour, and he's just throwing fastballs. Everyone's just throwing fastballs right by him. His bat is just, his mechanics are a little bit skewed. They're a little bit of a mess. which I don't think it has anything to do with being a DH. I don't think he's hurt. I think he just had 15 at bats in spring training, and he is way behind. He's a good 2 weeks behind. Like he just looks like he's not there. But I did want to show. I want to show this one. There was an auction that ended a couple days ago or Saturday, and I think it's worth talking about timing when it comes to selling sports cards and how timing can be both a good thing and a bad thing. So this card was up for bids. This is Rafael Devers' first Bowman Chrome Auto red refractor, true red. So you can make an argument this is one of his 6 best cards. I think it's a pretty strong argument. It was up on Golden over the weekend, and this is one of the highest graded copies of this card you're going to find. Color match, Red Sox. This same card, by the way, was sitting on eBay for $25,000 or best offer for like 6 or 8 months. It's been up there for a long time.
Wow.
Taken down, thrown up on Golden for bids. It ended on Saturday. And on Saturday, Devers, I believe, completed an 0-for-12 with 10K run that he was on, which is like the worst possible time you could end an auction for this card. Anybody want to guess what this went for?
10K.
I was going to say 9.
Okay. All right.
What was it up for best offer for all that time?
He said 25.
Yeah, $24.99 or best offer. So this sold at Golden for $8,845.
Dang. I did not look at that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That includes the buyer's premium.
Yeah.
The winning bid was $7,250.
So with shipping, 9.
Yeah. I assume that. Yeah. So, I mean,
ouch.
Yeah, this is either going to go down as one of the best buys of the season. If and when I think Devers will dig himself out of this, like he'll figure it out. He'll get hot.
Yeah.
And this card will mature nicely in theory. But this is I think this could be the best buy of the year, or
that's a good find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had this kind of money to lay out, good job for the buyer.
Notable sale.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, Chris. I hope that it's just a lack of swings, spring training, and that it's not that the DH has gotten his head. I had that concern last year when Ohtani was just going to be the DH, if it would bother him or not being out on the mound. And as we saw, it did not. But for some players, it does bother them not being in the field. I hope that's not the case with Rafi, and I hope just after a few more swings, he'll get back into it. But that Red Sox team is really exciting, but to do anything, they're going to need his bat. Yeah, they're going to need all their bats. Like, they basically had 2 guys hit well in Texas, and they went 1-3. Yeah. All right, great choice. For my first overreaction, I'm going to go for a guy who we last week, I believe, posted an overreaction to his sickness, to his illness, and that's Mookie Betts. So he was not, in fact, dying. He lost 20 pounds, but he came back and hit like a monster in his first games back. He did not miss any games. He had a game-winning home run, walk-off home run. He doesn't quite have the Judge OPS, but I believe he's at 399 for his OPS plus teapot. So pretty close. And after
shouldn't be
him having a rough spring, health-wise especially, and being out of the lineup, not even be able to practice, take swings, for him to come out and play like that was really incredible. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's back out there. The Dodgers are a team that can probably do okay missing 1 or 2 of their superstars for a while because they are so loaded. But with him in there and with that full lineup, they look pretty unstoppable so far. So I like Betts' chances to put up a big year. If he can avoid the fluke injury like he did last year, sky's the limit for him. Yeah. I've had some terrible takes on this show. We've been doing this for like a little bit over a year, and I feel like we could do a nice highlight reel of things I've said that have just been horrifically wrong, almost comically wrong. Like I'm doing it on purpose. But in a video last week, I said I would be surprised if Mookie Betts played a game in the first 2 weeks, and I wouldn't be super shocked if he sat out all of April just building up his strength. So what's he do? Comes back immediately and hits like probably had a 1 WAR game. It's a go-ahead home run in the 8th and then a walk-off 3-run bomb in the 10th. So good for Mookie Betts. I'm glad he's okay. He looks, the youth medium Dodger jersey that he's wearing is a little bit troublesome, but he'll put that weight back on, and he's just an incredible player. I'm very happy to see him back on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy he's healthy, that he came back and that the health wasn't. I mean, those quotes about his body eating itself were alarming, and it was
Troublesome.
like, what happened to this? What is happening? But I am glad he's back. I wouldn't have minded if he would have missed the opening series, and things may have gone a little differently for my Tigers. I will say I was raging hard on Saturday night when
you were full Raptor. Full
Raptor was in effect.
Friday night, I think that was when first of all, his home run in the 8th, it was close, but there was, the fan reached out. And so then they reviewed it for fan interference. And there was, when you saw it like looking straight out to the outfield and you saw how badly Riley Green missed it on the jump and the fan hit it, it was like, okay, that was a home run. But when they went to the side, only one time, and it was almost like they cut it as fast as they could from the game feed. The commentator says, well, that angle kind of made it look like it was, they're probably just gonna
the Raptor conspiracy theory in full effect.
It was short. I recorded it on my phone, went back and looked at it, and it was for sure short if you saw it from that angle. And they called it a home run. So game gets tied. 9th inning, Manny Margot. It wouldn't have been a walk-off, but it was top of the 9th. Gets the go-ahead run. He's also safe. They have one angle where you can clearly see his glove hits the plate before he gets tagged, and they overturn it, which leads to the walk-off heroics, including a Topps Now card that will feature a piece of the glove that Mookie Betts wore in the game, the batting glove. So whatever, I guess it's good for the narrative, but I did not appreciate seeing my Tigers start 0-3 and Braves start 0-4 to start the MLB season. So
and the
welcome back,
Mookie. 0-3.
Not happy.
We don't have a win.
Yeah,
the three of us don't have a win.
Have a win yet.
All three of us. Yeah, this is not
absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So,
all right.
I want to say real quick, I do think that Mookie Betts' home run did go further or more over the fence than Shohei Ohtani's in Tokyo, which was the most laughable review I've ever seen. There was I don't think they even watched it. They just waited the 20 seconds and were like, yeah, home run, of course. Of course it's a home run, which I'm fine with. All right. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Between the reviews they've had so far and all the umps missing balls and strikes calls, it's not a good look for baseball.
Hey, Alec Boehm still hasn't touched home plate. As a Braves fan, I will continue that argument forever.
All right, Chris, who's your overreaction in the positive way?
All right, my overreaction in a positive way, because I just watched this for 4 straight games, is on our Blabbing About Slabbing Live last Thursday. I think I predicted Matt Olson was going to be the NL MVP. I'm still getting derision in my own household for this pick after he just makes out after out after out. The name I wish I'd said, especially after watching these 4 games, is Fernando Tatis Jr. He's come out of the gate looking absolutely hyper focused. It almost looks like postseason Tatis, the guy who menaced the Dodgers last year, and he's got some really incredible October numbers. But yeah, he looks like he's a man on a mission. He's got a lot to prove, obviously, for various mistakes in his past. Last year, his random leg break, like stress fracture of his femur, which really shouldn't happen to people in their 20s. But who knows what his extracurricular activities are. But he looks absolutely incredible. 3 steals, a home run, a couple of doubles, including the guy doubled, didn't even swing, and he managed to hit a double, which is an impressive feat for anyone. But he looks incredible. I think we're going to see a gigantic Fernando Tatis Jr. season this year. The Padres might be a little middle heavy with Tatis, Machado, and Merrill, but those 3 guys, if they continue what I just saw over 4 games, they're going to be a problem in the West.
He also made it home. I think he went from first to home really fast. Like they were talking about that. I don't know if it was Merrill or who drove him in, but it was like I felt like they showed the camera and the ball goes out in the outfield, and all of a sudden it's like, and Tatis is home, and you're like, whoa, okay. So he was
it was Merrill. Merrill hit a ball off the wall, and as the throw was like coming in from the outfield, they cut to where like Tatis was going to be, and he was like already out of the frame.
Yeah. He's one of the most athletic players in the game, and when he's running hard, he is fast. Yeah. So he's back in the leadoff spot, right, Chris?
Yes. I got a question for you guys. Let's say in September, or mid to late September, he joins the 40-40 club. Like he's just having a monster season. Well, do you guys would you be inclined at all to pursue a Tatis card? Or does his history just mean you won't either way? Doesn't matter what he does.
Ty,
his history does not bother me at all. I think I've said that before, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a concern, especially if he strings together a series of really historic and MVP caliber seasons. I don't think his history is gonna. That was a hot thing when it came out, and I think like I don't remember if it was EFIS or somebody ran a poll, and it was like, how much does this impact us? Like it was like 50-50 then, like when the news was hot. So it's just I don't think it'll impact it too much.
Okay.
I have several Tatis cards, or a handful of big Tatis cards that I had from prior to the issue. If he had a big season, I would probably sell them all except one. I would probably keep one big Tatis card. I think it doesn't really bother me, but I believe that it bothers his collectability enough, or his demand, I guess, for his cards enough, because there's a lot of people who say, well, I like him, but I'm not going to collect his cards. And if that's too rampant, the demand's just never going to be there. So I'd love to see him string together some big seasons. I think by the time he retires, there's going to be a little bit less of a stigma on PEDs and steroids. I think we're going to see those guys from 2 decades ago get into the Hall of Fame. But the fact is, it was against the rules when he did it, whatever the neck cream was. So yeah, I would get rid of his cards and keep one. That'd be my plan.
Okay. Yeah, I lean closer to Jeff. If you can, probably not surprised. Most of you watching probably don't know if I am Jeff, but I'm definitely closer to Jeff's POV here. I think it's going to take like I said with Acuna, it would take more than one season after the ACL to really set the hobby on fire, and we didn't get it. And I think Tatis, like, this would be a great first step. There would be some buzz, but it's going to take more than one.
Yeah.
All
right, Teapot.
All right.
Anybody bothering you on the negative overreaction side?
Yeah, I did something uncharacteristic, and I bought a card like 10 days before the season started on a guy that I'm pretty hot on, and I know this will be near and dear to your heart, but I bought a Jackson Chourio, just a Sapphire PSA 10. It was like $105 or something like that, but I was like, I like these, more liquid but rare enough cards in the 10 condition to like say, well, let's see what happens, and it's a good looking card if nothing does happen. But I was very high on him this season. He had a great spring, and so far, obviously didn't have a great opening series. 32 OPS plus, 15 at bats, 13 hits, 1 run, 1 RBI.
I don't think he has 13 hits. Teapot.
What did I 3 hits? Sorry,
oh, yeah.
15 at bats, 3 hits. Yes, he's batting 200, and also many strikeouts. Not as many as Devers, but many strikeouts. So just not the start that you were hoping for. 7 strikeouts in 15 at bats. So that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just Jackson Chourio. I don't think there's not too much going on with his cards right now. I don't think anybody's panic selling Jackson Chourio whatsoever. So card impact. Now, if this drags out in like a J-Rod fashion or something where we've seen stretches, there might be more concern, but I think he's still going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I have to say that I was telling Chris this. I believe that he may have had the worst opening day in the history of baseball. He goes 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. Misses a horrible little league type throw from the outfield. And his last strikeout was with guys at second and third in the 9th. So he had a horrible opening day. So given the fact that he had 5 strikeouts on opening day and now he's only up to 7, means at least he's making contact. He has a couple of hits. Yeah, I'm not worried about him long term, but I do have to say, part of me wouldn't have minded if he went Devers style in these first 3 games, because his Heritage High number cards just came out, and I wouldn't mind getting some low ball deals on a red ink or 2. But that it doesn't seem to be affecting his prices too much.
No, I have a very funny text from Jeff, and after opening day, like 2 guys he and I really like, Devers and Chourio. He's like Devers and Chourio just went 0 for 9 with 8 Ks and a throwing error. What the F is going on? So much anger in his text. It's great.
It's like you wait all winter for opening day, and then you just look for a little.
Give us something. Give us a little lining. Spark. Yeah,
there's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm still wearing his jersey, Ty. So
dang.
Yeah.
Hey, at least Hector Neris isn't on the Brewers, Jeff. You got that going for you.
Oh man, but Nestor Cortez, I know we talked about him, but seeing those first 3 pitches that he threw get launched, and opening day, we gave our friend Jake, Short Print Today, a little bit of hell because those homers were kind of cheap on opening day, and the 3 off Cortez were not cheap at all. They were just crushed.
Oh yeah,
absolutely crushed.
Yes,
torpedoed.
Ha!
All right, so my dud is a guy who I love and was hoping he'd have a great season, and he still might, but Mike Trout got off to a rough start. 1 for 10, not hitting the ball well. He got hit in the hand. Just slowly looking like more of the same that we've seen the last several seasons. So that was a little disappointing to me. He was hitting the ball really hard in spring training. I kind of had a hope he'd come out and hit a couple early home runs, and he has not yet. So I don't know what that means. I hope it doesn't portend the rest of the year, but it's sad.
First of all, kudos on that vocabulary word, Jeff. You're going to send all our viewers to dictionary.com. But yeah, I actually watched this first at bat. I think it was the first at bat. He gets drilled in the hand. I'm just like, his bones are dust. Like, there's no way he's recovering from this. Like, season's over. And somehow he shook that off and stayed in. A tough series against that vicious White Sox pitching staff. That's going to be a problem all season. But yeah, I think he'll heat up. It was 3 games. It was a rough 3 games for sure. But yeah, unfortunately,
maybe that's how he reverses the curse. Like he takes it on the hand and then he's fine. He just reversed course, and now
like maybe he gets drilled a dozen times this year and doesn't get hurt.
Yeah,
dives and doesn't get hurt. Yeah,
the most Trout like possible thing that could have happened is he gets hit on the hand, and then as he's like he pulls his calf.
Yeah,
that's something I would do.
Or he stays in and hits a home run and pulls a muscle rounding the bases.
Yeah, a muscle that's bigger than all of our muscles combined.
All right. Well, let's finish up this overreaction discussion by talking about a couple players we might want to keep an eye out for after some eye-opening first series. Ty, why don't you start us off?
All right. I'm going to start out with a guy from my team, but I think it's pretty relevant, and that is Spencer Torkelson. So I'm going to pop up his chart and just show a couple of things quickly here. So when I look at a player like Torkelson, obviously a former top draft pick, he had 31 home runs 2 years ago, and then last year just completely looked frankly lost at the plate, couldn't make contact, one of the highest whiff rates, just terrible, striking out all the time, gets sent down to the minors, comes back up. And there were question marks all the way up until the regular season started about whether or not he would even make the opening day roster. He had a fantastic spring, and so far he's off to a really good start. He's 4 for 9. He's got a home run. He's got a stolen base. He's got a 1.532 OPS. He's drawn a whole bunch of walks. I don't even know how many, but he had his opening game. He had a home run and 4 walks. And for a guy who just had no plate discipline and looked terrible last year, it's very encouraging for Spencer Torkelson. So I'm looking at his PSA 10 Bowman Chrome refractor first. There's 500 of these, and this one's up 81% in the last 30 days. And I mean, this is a card that's $39 right now. These are the kinds of cards when you have these sort of under the radar fallen from grace players that start to recover most quickly, and the ones that are the easiest to move because they're relatively liquid. If I move over and I look at a sale that really shocked me, though, it would be his Bowman Chrome Gold Auto, which just sold on a best offer for $1,600 for Torkelson. And it does look like it was paid. I double checked it in Terapeak. It's still there. So I'm pretty sure
somebody's really buying into his hot start.
Somebody really wanted that card. They don't come up often. It's Pop 6 and PSA 10 conditions, so somebody believes. But I threw up some other names up here. I can make this a little bit bigger, and you can see some other guys: Dylan Cruz, Walker Jenkins, Caminero, Lombard, all in the same price range. So very surprising to see Torkelson. And then I threw his teammate Skubal on here, who's obviously done a heck of a lot more, albeit as a pitcher, than what Torkelson has done so far. So in terms of high end, when it comes to these players, I stay away. Obviously, you could have a lot of upside if he just starts to really get really hot, potentially. But I don't really see where this card could go. Whereas the lower end stuff in PSA 10 condition in particular, to me, is if you do think Torkelson's could have a decent season, an all-star caliber season, this type of a card could be one to go after.
I got to say, 5 of those 6 guys, those gold first Bowman Chrome autos outsold a Devers first Bowman Chrome gold auto that ended a week ago before the season even started. So, I mean, that seems crazy to me. Yeah, Torkelson on opening day, I was watching that game and I'm just like, who is this guy?
I know.
He's just
very comfortable.
Walks. Yeah. So he's also, I think you said that card's up 80%. I think his fantasy ownership is up about 80% too. For those of you that play fantasy, one of the most added players over the weekend.
Yep.
I mean, not out of the realm of possibility. They gave his position away to a guy last year who had 15 home runs. So it's possible to move to DH. They lit a fire under him. And I I hope he blows up. He was great in college, fantastic in the minors, had a pretty good rookie year. So the talent's there. And I'd love to see that Tigers team do well, if only because Teapot can't lose any more hair. We got to.
Yeah, I know. If I lose this, then this is turning white. That's what we got to avoid next, or I'm going to look totally albino.
Yeah, trust me. You don't need the great facial hair.
I know about that. Yeah, I think he perfectly fits the definition of a post-hype guy, right? A post-hype sleeper. His prices have come way down, huge coming out of the draft. And yeah, it'd be fun to see him bounce back. So hopefully he does. Chris, who do you want to keep an eye on?
I'm going to keep an eye on the Red Sox guy that they promoted to start opening day, and that's Christian Campbell, who's one of two Red Sox players who actually he hit well in Texas. He did not look scared, didn't look overmatched. They played him at second. They've played him in left. They want him in the lineup, and he looks really good. I'm excited to see what kind of Series 2, what flagship Series 2 card he gets. But yeah, he looks like the real deal, and that's that Red Sox team is going to get rolling. And so I don't know. Ty has his first Bowman Chromes. Like, what's the? I assume since they announced he was going to make that his stuff.
Yeah, he really probably got a bump making that roster, and that bump might just keep going with his start.
Yeah.
Over the last 30 days, just on his raw, I'll just pop this up. Just kind of some volatility, but like not a lot of crazy movement.
Interesting.
So $150. But remember, a lot of these guys, once they start even getting the rumor of being called up, like their prices kind of get high. So, I mean, you can see it started to take off here. So earlier in the year, it looks like people got excited. So I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, if he does make his mark on that team and stays up all year and becomes an integral part of a team that can make a push towards a division, I feel like you could see some movement there.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. All right. Well, real quickly, I wanted to say the guy I want to keep an eye on. Let me see if I can share this. Is a guy over in Pittsburgh, not named Paul Skeens.
I think I might know who.
This is O'Neal Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, the lesser.
Mr. Cruz. Now he was he's been a StatCast darling. He hits the ball really hard, and he just hasn't put it all together, health-wise or otherwise. But I feel like maybe this is his year. So he's only got 2 hits on the year. Let me get down to okay. Let me see. He's got 2 hits this year. That's it. But one of them's a home run. And if you look at his strikeout to walk ratio, he's already walked 6 times this season. He's a free swinger, and last season had 181 strikeouts and only 51 walks. This year, he's got 6 walks so far and only 3 strikeouts. So he leads the league with 4 stolen bases. And his despite just having 2 hits, his OPS plus is 167, very respectable, and he's a great base runner. I just feel like he's due for a breakout, and if it holds up that his plate discipline is becoming elite, that could really bode well for both his real life prospects and his card prospects, because I know he's just been in the doldrums card wise for the last few years. So we'll see what happens.
I think one of those home runs is the hardest hit ball in the league so far this year at 115 and change. He's always been able to absolutely piss on baseballs.
Yeah, and that came with a lot of swings and misses, but so far that hasn't been the case this year. So I'm going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah,
very interesting guy. I remember Jeff in our Dynasty Keeper League, where we each keep 8 guys. In the first round of our draft, I picked 3rd, and I took James Wood over O'Neal Cruz, and I think O'Neal Cruz went with like one of the next 2 picks. So based on that alone, I expect O'Neal Cruz to go like 50-50 this year.
And James Wood is surprisingly not hurt yet.
Right. And James Wood, who I also bought a card of, will probably.
I need Ty to offset me.
Yeah,
there's got to be a balance.
Yeah.
All these overreactions in another week or 2 could be completely opposite. But yeah, that's the good thing about baseball season, that we can just come in and make some immediate responses, either buying or selling cards, overreactions. But those are a few of our first ones after opening weekend. That's all we've got. So we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit like and comment. Let us know what your overreactions are from the first weekend of Major League Baseball, and we'll see you next time.